What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another episode of Lions Latest, going through the latest Detroit Lions news. And today's video is being brought to you by BetUS. So make sure you use the promo code in the description, YouTube150, to get a 150% deposit match on your first deposit with BetUS. We'll get to that more in a second. Today, we are here with the practice report from Thursday's practice for the Lions and Cowboys, America's game of the week. Now, we haven't done a video like this in a while, so I know this is kind of random, but we probably won't get a ton of updates for the Lions side of things. I don't think a ton of things are going to change, hopefully, between now and game day. Plus, I'm planning on dropping my preview / prediction tomorrow. So instead of doing a second video, I just thought maybe if I get injury updates by the time I post that video, I'll just throw it in tomorrow's video. And today we should update where the injuries are at, because with the bye week, there's a lot of new news kind of pouring in for the Lions in terms of guys on IR. So I thought this would be a good time just for a brief little update video. And then tomorrow, preview / prediction video for Lions Cowboys. So stay tuned for that. I don't know what time. Hopefully sometime afternoon is kind of what I'm aiming for, but we'll see on that, but it should be up tomorrow. You're over here on BetUS's website. You can see they have the lines for week 6 for the NFL out now. I posted that a little bit earlier this week, but we know the lines do change. So if you do make an account with BetUS, you can get involved with live betting. We'll have our player prop bets that'll be posted probably on Saturday, so stay tuned for that as well. But because it's Thursday, and because of the time I'm recording this, it's before Thursday night is kicked off, I thought we might as well place a little bet on Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco's Thursday Night Football. Now, this is a massive game, all right? The 49ers have not won a divisional game yet this season. This feels massive, but they're on the road. And I got to be honest, man, I like Seattle in this one. Now, Seattle's getting back Leonard Williams, which is massive. That's going to be key. I expect San Francisco to put up some points, so Seattle will have to be able to retaliate. And I think that they're very capable of doing that. I'm really worried about that pass rush for Seattle's offensive line, but I do like Seattle. Now, if you want to play it safe, you can go the point spread, but I'm going to go straight with the money line here at plus 167. You can see the chat with us option on the right side here. They have excellent customer service, so if you do have any questions or if you need help with anything, they have great customer service 24/7 that you can reach out to. So let's say we bet $20 on that. If that hits, we can win $33 placing the money line. So let's confirm that, get that locked in. I'm going to take Seattle tonight. That being said, let's waste no more time. Let's dive into the practice report from today. Now, let's start on the Dallas Cowboys side of things first, and then we'll get into the Lions, because we'll also talk about some of the other updates that we have that are not on the practice report. So starting with the Dallas Cowboys first, we have Trayvon Diggs, who had no practice today, listed with ankle/illness. Now, their cornerback room as a whole is something to very much keep an eye on heading into this game, because Trayvon Diggs is listed on their injury report with no practice today. You also have Deron Bland, who has returned to practice on a pitch count, as they put it over there in Dallas, but second straight day, full participation. He could be activated. We have not seen him so far this season dealing with a foot injury, so they might get their top cornerback back, or one of their top corners who had 9 interceptions last season. Now, against the Lions, didn't have his best day last year. 4 receptions, 5 targets, 119 yards, allowed over a 110 passer rating allowed. I think that was the big play to J-Mo on Deron Bland. So didn't have his best game of the season against the Lions in particular, but he played really well throughout the season, and that's just the ability that he has, is to take the ball away. Then also the rookie Kalen Carson, who's played a lot early in this season for Dallas without having Deron Bland. Kalen Carson has missed the last couple of weeks. He is also on the injury report, but he is trending the right way with back-to-back days of full participation. Carson statistically hasn't been great so far this season, allowing a 114 pass rating, 2 pass breakups, but also 14.3 yards per reception on 10 receptions so far this season. So he hasn't been great so far this year, but I thought he looked pretty good from what I had seen early in the season. It was nice to see the young guy getting some reps, and players coming out of Wake Forest that was much more NFL ready. And when you look at what they do schematically speaking, a lot of off coverage, you'll still get that cover 3 match. I think you get a lot less switch man coverage than what we saw in the past when we played Dallas, but you're going to get a lot of off man coverage, a lot of single high safety, a lot of cover 3 match looks, which puts their safeties into the action a ton. But these cornerbacks playing that off coverage can be attacked in those spots. What we've seen recently the last couple of weeks has been Monty Oruwariye in that spot, had some struggles there. They also had Andrew Booth in that spot, had some struggles there. So they would love to get these cornerbacks back. That feels like one of those spots that in a way has kind of been a weakness of their defense the last couple of weeks, but getting potentially a guy like Deron Bland back, and if Trayvon Diggs can play, that will kind of go out the window a little bit, and they'll be back to normal. Those guys can be beat, right? They can be beat. They can be taken advantage of over top, but for the most part, they need to get those players back, because over the last couple of weeks, that's kind of been the safety blanket for teams. I mean, I was watching Giants just straight up go at Andrew Booth over and over, so they need to get those two guys back. That being said, though, offensive line, this is a big one, because no practice today for Zach Martin. Now, yesterday, yesterday. It was a rest day, but no practice again today for Zach Martin, listed with rest/back. This is massive. Zach Martin, their right guard within this offensive line next to Cooper Beebe, has been an absolute great combination as two run blockers. He's also very consistent as a pass protector as well. He's maybe the most consistent offensive lineman. But in terms of being a run blocker, the combo blocks that he and Cooper Beebe have created on the backside of zone run plays for cutback lanes, the movement they have created on nose tackles, really good nose tackles. I'm not just talking about any nose tackle, but the movement that they have created on inside zones, outside zones for big cutback lanes. Those two guys are great together in those spots. And they do lean on kind of that left side of the rushing scheme. And if you look at this week with a guy like Tyler Guyton, who's had full practice the first couple of days of practice here for Dallas so far this week, who would be their starting left tackle, which would allow Tyler Smith to kick back to left guard and kind of make that offensive line potentially whole. That is massive for them to have Zach Martin in this game, because where you get inconsistencies with a guy like Cooper Beebe seemingly is quickly at the point of attack edge. You can cause some holding flags, but you really have to be stout at the point of attack against this team. You have to force those cutback lanes, but they do a great job of really creating a wall off the backside of those cutback lanes. The other thing to keep an eye on here will be the safety play. It's why it's so big, and we're going to get to it, Brian Branch being back, because you felt it a little bit last week, but this Dallas team is going to try to expose that. If you don't have a safety in the box, they're going to try to expose that because of the movement they have been able to create with a big offensive line. If you can't, we may see a guy like TJ Bass step in, who was by far their worst offensive line when he had to step in. He had an awful game. Again, it was against Pittsburgh, but he was awful, especially in pass protection. So if they don't have any of these interior offensive linemen, that could be a real problem. Continuing with Dallas's injury report, the biggest ones here is the linebacker position as well. Eric Kendricks, no participation today. Now, I don't want to count Eric Kendricks out for this game. Also, with no participation for back-to-back days with the Dallas Cowboys coming off of, I believe he was on a rest day as well on Wednesday, but no participation once again today. Now, this linebacker room from Dallas is incredibly important, and one thing that you notice, especially when you just look at the players that they have, Kendricks was their one free agent signing, is they're really fast-flowing linebackers. They scrape really well to handle that zone rushing scheme, and this is a team that's built between big bodies on the interior. It's why they threw a first-round pick at Mozzie Smith. It's why Linval Joseph has been huge as rotational nose tackle for this team, and they're allowing these linebackers to scrape and work laterally, work sideline to sideline very quickly, fill gaps that way. But Eric Kendricks, who is the green dot of this defense, has led that charge. Overshown rack of tackles. He can fly around. I don't think any of these linebackers are great up to the second level, but as we've seen, we know Eric Kendricks well. He's good in coverage. He leads the team in tackles with 52 by far this season. He has a couple of sacks. That is like their most consistent linebacker in that sense. He kind of gets everybody's lined up. You'll see plays where he'll occasionally like shift right on top of the play. He knows where it's going.
Here you'll see the movement the Giants create off the backside against this nose tackle. It's a matchup that I like. We'll talk more about Frank in a second. But notice here on the front side of the three technique, steps down towards the play side. That's what they have done a lot recently, which is step down, allow the linebackers to scrape across, and they're basically lagging, or they're trying to slant these gaps. We call it kicking their defensive front inside to try to slant gaps up front to create penetration.
He can get on top of run plays and shut things down. I don't think any of them are extremely great once the offensive line gets to the second level, which is why the matchup between Mozzie Smith and Linval Joseph against potentially Frank Ragnow this week, which we're about to talk about, is key. But not having Eric Kendricks is massive in more ways than just run defense. As, of course, coverage and looking for that matchup as an offense and just getting this defense aligned. Final thing we'll hit on here is Micah Parsons. No practice the last couple of days. He's not officially ruled out. We know they don't have Lawrence. We know they don't have Marshawn Nealon. So right now they're looking at guys like Golston, Tyrus Wheat. I actually thought they played pretty well, specifically last week. I thought Golston has been one of their more consistent pass rushers. I don't think that he's someone that you're just going to kind of walk all over when you look at their defensive ends. And Golston has inside-outside flexibility where he can kick inside and pass rush. What they lose with Micah is definitely more of kind of the creativity in terms of the movement. You're not going to see some of those looks where it's like a 4 down front. Here comes Micah just standing in the A gap on a 2nd and 10. You're not going to get as much of that creativity. It's a little bit more kind of based out so far this season, where they match personnel a little bit more. They lean on their linebackers, which is why it could be crucial to not have a guy like Eric Kendricks, because they'll have to start to get to some of their depth there. And you don't see all that movement as much with Micah Parsons so far this season. You also lose kind of that factor when he's not out there. I actually, weirdly enough, kind of thought in a way their pass rush was better last week against Pittsburgh than the week before against the Giants. I guess that speaks to the Giants offensive line. When Parsons was out there early in that game, it's crazy, but I kind of think that it was. But this is a team that, especially when trailing, they like to crank up that aggression from what I've taken away of watching a Mike Zimmer defense so far this season. So if the Lions can play with lead like they know they're going to want to, I think that's clearly the best spot spot, because then they can lean on the run game against an aggressive defensive coordinator in that spot who's missing some of his key pieces on the front. Could be a real problem for this team. So I think it just emphasized the importance of playing with a lead in this game. But I don't expect Micah Parsons to play, but they're not ruling him out as of now. I don't think they've officially done that, but he's not expected to play. Good news for them is that a guy like Maris, their rookie, he is full participation the last 2 days, so they should have him at backer with Overshown in this game. And then again, they'll just have to get to some of their depth there. And also Malik Hooker seems like he's going to be good to go. On the Lions side of things, only have a few guys. The big one today was that Kerby Joseph popped up on the injury report with limited practice with a hamstring injury. We'll have to see how serious this is. I'm not sure. Tomorrow's going to kind of tell the entire story probably here. If it's full participation, he's probably going. If not, could be a little bit concerning, even if it's just limited. The positive is we should be getting Brian Branch back after the bye week. He's still listed with illness, but full participation the last couple of days. Same thing with Frank Ragnow, which is crazy. The guy has a torn pec, and he's full participation. He set the play in this game. KO'd stepped in, did a good job. I thought he was really solid in pass protection. Not perfect, but really solid kind of after the beginning of the game. But where I thought we kind of missed Frank was some of the movement within our offensive line. Like I thought when KO'd was asked to pull, it was a little bit inconsistent. What he did do well is he got downhill. He handled a lot of strong double teams, combo blocks at the point of attack. He did that well. He was a people mover. He just struggled a little bit, I thought, with some of the athleticism looks. I think you get some of that back if you have Frank Ragnow in the game and Graham Glasgow can go back to guard, even though Graham held it down at center for us. I think you add some of that back to the offensive line. And then, of course, like I said, that matchup's crucial because you're going to get a lot of one-on-ones. You're going to get a lot of one-technique looks from their nose tackles. And because of that, if you get a lot of weak side running, especially outside zones like we've seen teams do, it's going to be Frank against Mavi. It's going to be Frank against Linval Joseph. And it feels like it all starts there. You can double team Osa Odigizua and create movement, right? He's quick. He can get upfield, but it starts with that nose tackle. He's the guy that forces cutback lanes. He's the guy that starts it all. And if their defense line is getting moved, all of a sudden you're at a spot there where you like your ability to get up to the second level and get downhill against this team because they want to force you this way. You want to go this way. Kerby Joseph, however, if he does miss this game, this would stink. Kerby Joseph has kind of just taken more on his plate. We've had to throw more on his plate. We didn't have Branch last week. He handled that. Put him in man coverage. He handled that. He has grown exponentially in man coverage. It's been awesome to see it. Now, he clearly has a role. He's definitely our best free safety. You want him lurking in the back end. And I think if you don't have Kerby, the positive is I think Brandon Joseph can actually fill into that role pretty naturally. When Brandon Joseph had to step in initially for us, it was like, oh, we're just going to play zone coverage now. So I actually think he could fill into that role maybe even better than when we didn't have Brian Branch. But Brian Branch is going to be key in this one because of that run game, because of the cutback runs. If we're in a two-deep look, his ability to get downhill, stop the run, he's going to be all over the place against the run. I expect the slot corners will as well. I expect some slot blitzing, safety blitzing in this game, slanting, kicking, just kind of slow down some of this zone rushing scheme where b.godl has had some success this year. So not having Kerby will stink, especially for the vertical passing game, because they like to run a lot of mirrored route tree, second and long. They like to mirror things on both sides of the field. So you could potentially create plays there, but Dak gets it out so fast that I don't think the impact would be as massive as, say, not having Brian Branch in this game, where how fast Dak gets the ball out of his hands, it's to me could be more about straight up the one-on-one matchups on the outside, as well as all the underneath coverage and how they handle their responsibilities in this game. So great news there with Frank. Looks like he's going to be on his way back, which is a great matchup for the Lions on paper, as well as Branch. And Christian Mahogany, we heard the news. He's back at practice. Now, Dan Campbell said that his first practice looks like a guy that needs practice, but it's full participation the last couple of days. I don't expect him to be like taking off the 21-day window just right now because, hey, he's healthy, because he may just not be ready to go. And for the Lions, they might as well kind of just wait the 21 days, even if he is healthy. I mean, I don't see a reason to rush it. If you don't feel like in practice he looks like the guy that's ready to go, we don't know what he looks like. I don't know what he looks like. We didn't see him in the preseason. We didn't really see him in camp. I don't know what Christian Mahogany is going to look like as a Lion. So this is the only time they're really seeing it. I like Mahogany. I liked him out of college. We did the breakdown video, but that's the last thing we've really seen of him. I expect the Lions to kind of wait this out, not rush it. And in the meantime, especially with Frank back, KO being your backup guard, you feel good about that. You still have Michael Neese. You still have Kobe Sorsel, who's been a healthy scratch a ton. I don't think that you need to rush this back, but hopefully long-term, of course, having Mahogany again could add some more of that athleticism, especially the pulling spots, the trap plays where KO was a little bit hit and miss. The hope is that Mahogany is going to be much more sound there and be much more of an impact player where he's moving people around. And then, of course, it's about the pass protection development. But I don't expect them to rush trying to get Christian Mahogany back, but I could be wrong on that. We'll see. Other news for the Lions side of things is Derek Barnes, who could be out for the season. It sounds like Dan Campbell, he said we'd be fortunate if we do get him back at any time this season. So Doesn't sound great on Barnes. Lions are going to have to figure that out. I think we're going to see more Trevor Nowatzki this week. I think he's going to get more reps. Of course, they have Ben Neiman, who kind of played the Derek Barnes role this last week, though I didn't think it went that well. Maybe they look outside of the box. That's potentially could happen. Look into the practice squad. That's an option as well for the Lions. I just think we're going to see more Trevor Nowatzki this week. It could come down to the trade aspect. I just hate to hear that because I don't think Derek Barnes is easy to replace. I don't think it's just like a skill set that you can just go grab. Derek Barnes has taken his time learning the system, getting comfortable in this defense, carving out a niche role as a Sam backer, and he's starting to play really fast in that role, and he can shed blocks at such a high level. He's got a unique build as kind of like a defensive end that plays linebacker. There aren't just Derek Barnes lying around. So this is going to be a very difficult spot to kind of just replace, which really stinks, but I think Trevor Nowatzki is going to get some more looks. That'd be my guess. Finally, just a real quick, I saw the Enos Rakestraw situation. I guess he said that, like, needs surgery, even though he was back last week, which threw me off. Like, he's not even on injury reports. Why would he need surgery? Yeah, I guess he was talking about needing a haircut. Hey, in that case, I need surgery, dog. I guess I did have surgery. I need another surgery. I had surgery. I need surgery again. This is a disaster. I don't know what y'all wonder why I'm wearing the hat. Now you know. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't know. Now you know. There's no real concerns there. That is your participation report update for the Lions Cowboys heading into this game. Again, preview prediction tomorrow. If you want to hear more what to expect in this game, that's tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But until then, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Prop, for watching. Shop to BetUS, promo code YouTube150, and I'm out.